All right, today we're going to talk about a guy who didn't just play golf. He totally redefined what it means to be a champion. Yeah, we're talking about the one, the only, Gary Player.
So, what is it that builds a legend? Is it just raw talent? Dumb luck? Or is it something else? Something deeper? Something forged in fire? That's the big question we're diving into today as we look at the journey of one of golf's absolute icons.
To really get who the champion was, you've got to understand the kid he started as. And for Gary Player, the story doesn't start on some perfectly manicured green. Nope, it begins in a much tougher place, a South African mining town. He was born in Johannesburg, and his childhood, well, it was anything but easy. He lost his mom when he was only 8, and his dad, he works these incredibly long, hard hours deep down in a gold mine just to keep the family going. It's against this really tough backdrop that a young Gary stumbles upon golf. And that passion, well, it would change his life forever.
So, from these humble, tough beginnings, this fierce ambition started to grow. He wasn't content just being a good golfer. No way. He wanted to take on the entire world. So, let's talk about how he forged that iconic identity of his.
Okay, get this. He turned pro at just 17 years old. I mean, can you imagine that kind of confidence? And then in the 50s, he does something really rare for a South African athlete back then. He starts traveling the globe to compete. This international journey, plus his now famous all-black outfits, well, that's what gave him his legendary nickname, the Black Knight. I mean, just the name itself sounds powerful, right? It became totally synonymous with who he was on the golf course. So what was the Black Knight? It was so much more than just wearing black clothes. It was a whole attitude, an aggressive, go-for-broke style of play, and it was all backed up by this unbelievable work ethic and a mental toughness that was just unshakable. The guy would not break under pressure. So, with this persona locked in, Player sets his sights on the absolute pinnacle of golf, the major championships. And this is where he's going to cement his place in history forever. Okay, let's just start with the numbers here, because they're insane. Over 160 professional wins all around the world. I mean, that is just a staggering number. It tells you everything you need to know about his dominance and his consistency for decades. But, as you know, in golf, the real measure of greatness, that comes down to the majors. And Player, he grabbed 9 of them. These are the big ones, the tournaments that define a career, the ones every single pro dreams about winning. And just look at this breakdown. It shows you how incredibly versatile he was. He didn't just own one tournament or one type of course. He won on every kind of stage. 3 Masters, 3 Open Championships, 2 PGA Championships, and 1 US Open. Winning all 4 of those, that's the holy grail of golf. And that brings us to a really important term, the Career Grand Slam. It's pretty much what it sounds like, winning all 4 of golf's majors in your career. It is an incredibly exclusive club, reserved for only the absolute legends of the game. And in 1965, Gary Player joins that club. He became only the 3rd golfer in all of history to pull it off. Think about that. He wasn't just a winner anymore. He was a history maker. This is what sealed the deal on his status as an all-time great. But here's the thing. Winning all those majors, that wasn't his only legacy. Not by a long shot. Player was a total revolutionary. A guy who was so far ahead of his time in one specific area that he literally changed the game forever. See, back in his day, most golfers, they didn't really focus on physical training. It was all about technique, feel, touch. But Player had this radical idea. He believed a golfer should be a complete athlete. He just knew that physical fitness, strength, flexibility, endurance was absolutely essential for success and for having a long career. So his whole routine was built on these tough workouts and super disciplined, healthy living. He was all about building strength, keeping flexible, and having the endurance to just outlast everyone else, not just for one round, but for a whole career. And look, this stuff is totally standard now, right? But back then, Gary Player was the guy who started it all. He was the pioneer. And his impact? Wow. It didn't stop when his main playing days started to wind down. Actually, you could make a pretty strong case that his influence got even bigger after he stepped away from full-time competition.
I mean, he became a true force of nature in the golf world. He's designed hundreds of amazing, world-renowned golf courses. He's built successful businesses. He's been this incredible global ambassador for the sport, helping it grow everywhere. And maybe most importantly,
he's dedicated so much of his life to philanthropy, giving back through charities and youth programs.
And this quote, it really nails the essence of his legacy. Yeah, the trophies are amazing, but his reputation, the thing that's really lasted, it's built on his character. That incredible discipline, that famously positive attitude, and a real dedication to making a difference in the world. So when you put it all together, right, the tough start, the global ambition, the historic wins, being a fitness pioneer, and all his contributions off the course, you get a really clear picture. Gary Player isn't just one of the greatest golfers ever. He's kind of like a blueprint for what greatness really looks like.
And that brings us right back to that question we started with. The story of Gary Player really makes you think, doesn't it? It suggests that a true legacy, it's not just about the trophies you put on a shelf. It's about what you build, how you change the game, and who you inspire while you're at it. Pretty powerful stuff to think about.